Happy 2021, guys. This is your girl Twilight. It's 2:30 in the morning, and I just had an epiphany that I'm ready to put into words. So this particular message is entitled "The Unpopular Opinion: Why You Should Never Participate in Struggle Love." Now listen, I've been doing these videos since about 2014, I want to say. So 6 years of videos, and I have been listening to different people talk about relationships experts. I've been garnering, and collecting the data and information of people who comment on my posts from all over the globe. I'm talking about from Europe to Florida. Okay, from Australia to California. So because I have garnered on my social media sites a collection of about 100,000 followers, I've had the pleasure of seeing how all different minds works. And I have come to the conclusion, based on an eclectic mix of information, I've been able to put together the best course of action based on that data of 6 years and over 100,000 followers of posting information and different opinion pieces about relationships. And what I have come to the conclusion of is males, no matter what, desire to be respected and revered. Remember that, ladies, the 2 R's. Males want to be respected, number 1, and revered, number 2. Now, this can be healthy where all they expect is for you to acknowledge their human existence and show them the proper amount of human decency. That could be their version of respect. But if their version of respect is a little bit more twisted or impaired, he may expect for you to lower yourself in certain types of a way, expect you to not utilize or voice your opinion as much, or downplay your needs and wants and put his on a pedestal. That may be your man's version of respect, depending on his level of emotional maturity and his own level of self-esteem. Because remember, males can have low self-esteem as well. Okay? So if his version of respect, always find that out. If his version of respect includes you bowing down to him, you suppressing your feelings, you suffocating your voice, then you have a man who probably is mired in his insecurities, low self-esteem, and that is going to be the core from which he operates. Okay? Now, you also then have to look at what he requires in terms of reverence. Reverence may be, hey, I'm producing, I'm growing, I'm accountable, and I just want you to acknowledge that I'm doing these things. That is a healthy form of reverence. But then if he expects for you to worship the ground he walks on and to be a complete and total doormat, then you are dealing with someone who's getting over in the red zone of more of a narcissistic form of reverence, which then also speaks to the fact that he does not have a strong sense of identity and he is dealing with some level of self-esteem issues. No matter what, though, no matter the man, no matter if his views and perceptions are rooted in a healthy sense of self or an unhealthy sense of self, men expect to be revered and respected by the women in their life, especially their wives and girlfriends. So sisters, all women across the globe, write that shit down and put that firm in your mind. Figure out what his version of respect and reverence is, and then go from there. Because if you don't know what he deems as respect and reverence, then you will be surprised when you're acting and behaving in a certain way, and then his responses are extreme, and he is creating chaos, and you're wondering, why is he reacting so strongly to something that you thought was minute? Because you don't know that your man has a fragile ego or a fragmented ego. You don't know that he doesn't have a strong sense of self. And so respect to him is you suppressing your voice. And that could potentially be a problem for you if you are an expressive woman who speaks her mind. You guys are probably not going to be a good match for each other long term. But many of you will find that out later on in the relationship and wonder what went wrong. And it's not that something went wrong, it's that you didn't do your proper research. Okay? So this brings me to my next point of struggle love. Because men desire to be respected and revered, depending upon what their definition is, they are going to be most attracted to women who provide what they need in terms of reverence and respect. Okay? So whether or not you judge his need for reverence and respect as some low frequency toxic bullshit, it matters not. The man is going to look for women who give him that feeling. So where does this fall in the spectrum of struggle love? Okay, well, struggle love in and of itself is a trick bag. And I think we need to expose the truth about that. So many people tote around the idea that struggle love is some badge of honor that a woman gets to receive after she has invested herself in a man to build him up. And now it's kind of like, wow, you built him up and now he's married you. But these particular stories don't denote how very dark struggle love can be, to the point where you are without your mate for years because he's been in prison, or he's not psychologically stable, or he's mentally and emotionally abusive. So much in the Black community needs to be refined and revisited and questioned. And I would think that this is one of the ones, because this is really low frequency love. This isn't, it isn't really love, to be exact. It's more codependency. And I'm going to explain to you why. When a man is at his lowest point, he needs certain energies in order to build him up. Because masculine energy is more rigid and it works in a more patternistic type of a way, a man is more likely to go and complete the continuous same cycles rather than break them, unless he can access his own divine feminine within. Now, most men do not know this because that is higher science knowledge. So the average dude ain't walking around accessing his divine feminine within. He is looking for the energy unconsciously of women that will help to push him in the direction that he is looking to go. So when he is at his lowest point, he is looking for some internal, intrinsic things like character development, nurturing, okay, support, understanding, patience, long suffering, because he's trying to break a cycle of failure, really, or break a cycle of not quite meeting the mark, or break a cycle of shame. So these are the things that he is calling on and searching unconsciously for in his mate. Stay with me now, because I'm dropping some heat on you. And he seeks out the woman that provides that. Well, so that you know, these particular qualities are also qualities that you would find in, guess what? Your mother. So ultimately, when a man is in a cycle which requires him, he's at his lowest point, He is looking for the woman he needs, not the woman he wants. And obviously, he is not going to be attracted to his mother. And he doesn't know anything about accessing his own divine feminine within because he's a regular ass dude. So what is he doing? He's looking for a woman that depicts those characteristics for him. Now, there's a darker side to motherhood where the mother can become authoritative and always expectant. Okay. And so when we talk about authoritative and expectant, because a woman who signs up for what you call, quote unquote, struggle love, and when a man is at his lowest points, she is giving him that nurturing, that feedback, that support that's building him up. But she is also kind of authoritative, expectant of him, doesn't really trust that he can get the job done, doesn't really see him in the light in which he wants to be seen. Now, remember I said earlier, men want what? Reverence and respect. So as he is going through the challenges necessary to build himself up and get character development and pull on feminine energy in order to do so, he seeks out the woman who has high mothering characteristics. But as I said before, the dark side is the authoritativeness, the expectedness, the not trusting him to get shit done, or definitely calling him out on his shit when he's not being consistent. All of those things are not things that men generally value. Let's just put the shit on out there. As women, we need to really accept the truth about a lot of things. So as he is looking to utilize the frequency and the energy of your ability to help him develop his character, he is despising the fact that you don't revere and respect him. Now, bear in mind, when a man is at his lowest point, there are certain things that are implications here. And these implications may indicate that he has made choices that has caused him to not be able to move forward in life. Now, as we know, there are plenty of systematic injustices, a whole shit ton of them, that holds men of color back from self-actualizing, from the food they eat to the psychological and spiritual warfare on them. But notwithstanding, that does create a bit of a conundrum here, because we are dealing with males who already kind of come into the game with like 50 bricks on their back and trying to swim out of the ocean with bricks on their legs and feet. You get what I'm saying? And so as unfortunate as that is, that causes a lot of stress, causes a lot of pain. It causes them a lot of low self-esteem and low self-worth. And so, as I said before, that also connects to the definition of reverence. It also connects to the definition of respect based on how solid the man is inside with his sense of self and his knowledge of self. Okay? So he may be very well cycling through some of his unfulfilled dreams, desires, goals, and feeling very fragile. You got to understand, when you sign up for struggle love, you're signing up to be connected to a fragile male ego. I'm going to say that again. Not just your typical male ego, but fragile male ego. Make sure you put that descriptive term on it, because it cannot be ignored. If he is at his lowest point, he is fragile. There's no two ways about it, period. And I don't even have to get into any statistical evidence. Anyone who listens to this knows the shit is self-evident. If he is at a fragile point and you are feeding him the character development, and you're feeding him the nurturing, and you're feeding him the support and the long suffering, the backhand slap is your authoritativeness, your expectancy, as well as you calling him out on his shit. He's too fragile to actually see it as accountability. He sees it as an attack. Now, I know right now for a lot of you, the lights is clicking on. So when you sign up for someone who is a male, especially a male who is in a struggle love situation, you are signing on to a very fragile male ego. And in addition to that, you're not going to be able to, even though you're feeding him all this character development and all of this support, you're not going to, in the same breath, respect him. And I'm going to tell you why. Their feminine energy has its usage, but it is being exploited when you use your feminine mothering energy for your man or your husband. That is a death sentence. You're either going to use it and create a codependent male who is as useful as a fucking house cat, whereby you take up all of the slack and you take on all of the major burdens, or you're going to create someone who is extremely resentful of you, who loves and appreciates what you did for them, but because you do not respect his manhood, which is very fragile, he is also going to hate you for it. And ultimately, it's not to say that you are wrong for noticing the inconsistencies within him, but you just simply miscalculated. Because when you sign on for struggle love, I kid you not, and I said this is the fifth, maybe sixth time, you're signing up for a man with an extremely fragile ego. And you're not going to be able to disseminate to him the respect and reverence on that level. And don't try to fake it either. A lot of women, you love your man, you want to keep your man and all that good stuff. And I appreciate that. And I'm sure he appreciates that too. But he knows you're bullshitting. He knows you don't respect him. You don't see him in the light in which he wants you to see him in, because hell, he is not in that light. Okay? So what he then does is he looks for a woman who has less, her expectations are lower, if he's still not self-actualized. Now, if he does achieve through the feminine energy he pulls from you, the character development once more, and the consistency, the changes, the shifts, the potential, now he's going to go after the woman, the type of woman, I'm going to say this again, the type of woman that he wants, not the type of woman that he needs. Because guess what? He don't need mama no more. He don't need mama no more. He don't need mama no more. Because he has gotten to his highest point, or a point in his life where he feels that he deserves this respect and reverence. And guess what? The woman who didn't have to do all of that pouring into him and sacrificing herself, guess what? This woman already reveres him. Now, yes, there are some struggle love success stories but I can guarantee you those women, they knew that they had a man with a super fragile ego, and they knew what lines not to cross. And whether or not they were happy in those situations, I'm not sure. I can't speak to that. Many people will front like they're happy on social media and do it to just throw it in other people's faces, but that doesn't mean shit. What I can say is that there are some success stories, but those success stories are very, very small compared to men and women who get together for the right psychological reasons. Okay. So, for example, if a woman now goes and she says, you know what? I see you, bro. It looks like you're working hard to get to where you need to be, but I cannot issue my mothering energy towards you because in the end, we're going to fail because I can't be the mothering energy for you without the authoritativeness, without having expectations, without continuously calling you out on your shit. So you're not going to like me after a certain period of time. Okay? Because the level of accountability that I the level of accountability that I expect would be something that you would likely be offended by. Eventually, you might not say anything, but you'll eventually be offended by it because you'll notice that I don't respect you. Because why? You're calling me to character develop you. So what do I respect and revere my child? No, the fuck I don't. Because no man wants to be bossed around, controlled, told what to do, told that he's inadequate, or even for it to be indicated or implicated inconspicuously. He just doesn't want it, period. So he's going to go for who makes him feel the way he needs to feel, whether it's real or imagined. So my suggestion is get with someone who is psychologically healthy and prepared for partnership. Okay? That's it. This is Twilight saying peace, healing. Happy 2021. Do great things in this year and love yourself.